Hello, you're listening to E-Bible Fellowship's new open form excerpts, and now we present the following excerpt.
Welcome to our program. Please go ahead with your call.
Hi, Chris. I was just looking at one of the numbers that God tends to keep using is 80. I was looking at 80, and I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about it. Some of the verses he used that I found the number was Genesis 16:16. It has 80 in it. It's 180.
Genesis 16, verse 16, and Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram.
Genesis 35:28.
Genesis 35:28. And the days of Isaac were 180 years, or 180.
And then Esther 1:4.
Esther 1, verse 4, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days.
So my question is 180. How's God using that here? And also the number 80. So it's 180 and the number 80 by itself. How's God using that?
In that verse concerning Abram, he was 86. So that, would not be 80 or 180. But we would break it down. Break down the number 180. I believe it would be 10 times 18. And then 18, we know is 3 times 6. So 10 times 3 times 6 would be, the integers that when you break it down of the number 180, and each one has a spiritual meaning, 10 completeness, 3 purpose, and 6 work. It can point to work. So the complete purpose of whatever work is in view, we could look at it that way. Those numbers could be broken down a little further, like 2 times 3 instead of 6, but that would be, doubling the 3. It really depends on the context. The 180 days where he was showing the glory of his kingdom, I believe, in the book of Esther. And so that can tie into work. There's such a thing as good works. Ahasuerus, the king, is a historical type in the book of Esther of God, and God has many good works. Now, as far as the number 80, that would be a little easier to break down 2 times 40. Like we do know with Moses that his life was broken up into periods of 40 years. He was 40 years as like a prince in Egypt. Then he had to flee. He was 40 years in the desert or in the wilderness. He came back to Egypt at age 80. And then there was a final 40-year period that brought him to the age of 120 before his death. So now with Abram being 86, 2 times 43. And 43 can identify with deliverance, like Israel and Egypt for 430 years. So you have 10 times 43 and complete deliverance after 430 years. All Israel came out of Egypt. So again, we look at the context and then the numbers will determine spiritual meaning, and call them numbers, but they are words. They're words. They're written with consonants in the Hebrew text. And like any word, they have spiritual meaning. Some might kind of raise their eyebrows at the idea that a number has spiritual meaning. But what we find is a consistency, like for instance, with the number 40. Why is it that Israel wandered 40 years in the wilderness and were obviously tested? And Jesus was tempted or tested of the devil 40 days. And we could refer to other periods of 40 years or 40 days. Jonah went to Nineveh, yet 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed. And we see there's a test, always a test involved. So the number 40, or the word 40, has a spiritual meaning of testing. Same thing with the number 10. 10 coins in Luke 15, and the woman lost 100 sheep, and one sheep was lost. So we right away see a relationship. Or cattle upon 1,000 hills is a verse in the Psalms. Christ comes with 10,000s of saints. It's not just something we say flippantly. We study these things, God's people, and we see a pattern, a consistent pattern. 10, completeness. 10 coins is all she had, or we're told she had. 100 sheep, complete total. 1,000 hills, which points to completeness of all hills. 10,000 or 10,000s of saints, completeness of saints, all the elect. And actually, that's a good proof, because in a couple of places it says 10,000s of saints. And in a couple of other places it says Christ comes with all the saints. It actually uses the word all. So there is biblical confirmation. The number means all. And of course, if you have a complete number, or the completeness of something's in view, it means all is in view. And likewise, if it's true of the number 40 and it's true of the number 10, or various multiples of 10, doesn't change the meaning, then it's true of the number 3. And when Christ went to the cross, there were 3 main characters, Christ and 2 thieves. 3 crosses, 3 men upon the cross. His name was written in 3 languages. And you can go through, there's about 15 different 3s identified with the cross experience. And why? The purpose of God. He had to go to the cross. Determinate forecounsel of God. Purpose. And we see consistency with the number 3. Again, spiritual meaning of the word, which, we understand is a number, yet it's a Hebrew word or a Greek word, and it has a meaning. And then when you get to a number like the number 12, the number 12 has the meaning of fullness, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles, and again, not coincidental. The number 12 is teaching fullness. And then in Revelation 21, we find there's 12 gates, but then God breaks it down. 3 gates on the north, 3 gates on the south, 3 gates on the west, 3 gates on the east. And that tells us, okay, you can have a number that has its meaning fullness, but it can be broken down further 3 times 4, as God himself does in Revelation 21. And within the number 12, we have the number 3 for purpose and the number 4 for universality, or furthest extent of whatever is in view. And the number 4 is very consistently used in the Bible too. It's universal, worldwide, 4 points of the compass. So, a lot of times when we're doing Bible study and we'll make quick comments, well, this number breaks down. There's been study before those comments are made. The very careful study has been done to show the validity of assigning meaning to the words which are translated as numbers in the Bible, and also in the breaking down of them.
Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for more new open forum excerpts that will be added periodically.